unique features of Digital Florists. This is comes from our analytics section. So to find it, you'd go to your analytics and you'd select peaks. It's a analytic that is dedicated to your peaks and showing you what information you can get from your peaks, like such as how many orders, turnover, average order value. So you've got this to look back on at any point. It's already sorted for you. In the main analytics, you can extract it right down to order level, but the idea is this gives you a really good overview and will help you plan. So our latest peak is obviously Mother's Day. You can exclude the point of sale if that skews the figures. So sometimes if you're doing a lot of small transactions through point of sale, you might only be interested in the orders that you were pre-booked for delivery or collection, in which case you could just exclude the point of sale like that. You can also look back on previous years. We have 3 years worth of data for peaks, so I could look and analyse each peak and see the difference in what we did during those peaks. It shows you how much busier you are compared to a normal day. So over here, this is quite an interesting graph because it actually shows you how many orders you were doing on each day compared to your normal day. And you can see there 21 times 9 times busier than normal on the Sunday. 19 times busier than normal on the Saturday. These figures are really useful for you, even if you've been in floristry for a long time. However, if you've only been doing floristry for a short amount of time, or you haven't had a peak yet, watch my video and learn to see how much busier we are, because as a florist, when you first go into it, you don't understand how much busier the peak gets. It is a complete baptism of fire if you haven't done a certain amount of peak days before you go into business. There's various graphs. It even shows the most ordered time of day. So from this graph, I can see most of my orders happen between 8 and, let's say, 5, but most of my orders happen around 12, which probably coincides around lunchtime. So therefore I can use this information for my sending out my e-shots. I can make sure that we are landing in people's inboxes exactly when they're going to need and we're going to want to buy. It gives information such as whether it was delivery or collection, whether your customers were returning customers or new customers. And this graph I found really interesting because I'm so delighted to see how many of our customers are returning customers. It's good that they continue to put their faith into us. But obviously the lifeblood of all businesses is new customers. So you're always wanting to feed these new customers into the pipeline. And if your percentage of returning customers is maybe too high to your new customers, you know that you need to do more marketing to drive more new customers in the business, who in turn will hopefully become returning customers. I can get a good idea of what my average order value is there. So I can see the biggest seller at peaks for me was my £50 to £75 hand-tied bouquets. And after that, my 75 to 100. So it really does give you a good idea of where to pitch your range. Obviously, you're always wanting to go for getting that little bit more. But if I know that is my average, I've got a good base to start from. I can make sure there's a good choice in that range, but then also make the next step up just a little bit more attractive, whether you have a little offer attached to it or something. This one is great because this shows you how last minute your peak is. And peaks are very last minute. You know, every year you hear florists on the Facebook groups going, oh, this is the worst, it's really quiet, it's really this. Then all of a sudden those Facebook groups go quiet because they're too busy dealing with the influx of orders that are coming in. So in the last 24 hours before the date, 41% of my orders came in. So again, you know, I think this Mother's Day was particularly last minute, but that does just show you what it was like for you last year. So it can give you the confidence if you're starting to have a little wobble about your last minute orders. You could come to this report and you could check what it was last year and realise that they're coming. It gives you information on your best-selling products. If you've got all your products set up, I can see which products sold the best. Again, useful information for next year. Order count. Okay, that's thingy. So this I find very useful. This is the geographical distribution of orders. Now, I obviously, my easiest orders to fulfill are going to be the ones that are local to me, the ones that are around me. So I'm not having to go half an hour somewhere to deliver. So that is where I wanting to concentrate my marketing and get more orders from, because those are my least hassle orders. So from here, I am pleased to see my 2 target postcodes are the most orders, and that does make sense. If people are Googling you, you're likely to come up higher for those particular areas. 2 other areas which are fairly local to me, 25 and 17. I think I could do quite a bit more work there, because looking at these, you know, this one's half what these are. This one's even less, this is quarter. These are places that are just down the road from me. So maybe I could analyse why maybe we don't get them. Maybe there's another good florist in the area, so people naturally gravitate towards there. Maybe I'm just not being visible enough in those areas. So maybe there's something I can do to make myself more visible in those areas to get more of those orders. And interestingly, the average order for both of those areas is higher than my average order for these areas. That might be skewed a little bit because the figures are smaller, but it also indicates that maybe there is some big spenders in those areas. Then the next statistic that's really interesting is that it then gives you a breakdown according to, it shows you your last year's orders, it shows you your revenue to date, and then it shows you how many orders they're predicting you are going to get the following year. And what is interesting to me to see about this peak is actually we did less number of orders this year. However, our revenue was about the same. So that is something for me to consider, to say, well, why did we get less number of orders? Was it that more people just came in and bought on the day? Or was there another reason? Did I not market enough? I've got to ask those questions, because really I would like to have got the same amount of orders as the previous year, if not more, but made more revenue from that, because obviously everything's costing more. Therefore, my staffing costs more, my heat and light costs more, my rent costs more. I want to be able to make sure that we're covering that in our peak times, because that is a large percentage of our turnover. I'm just going to whiz back up to the top just to show you. I won't go through these peaks in more detail, but it's just to show you that you can actually go back to different peaks. So I can get information on my Valentine's peaks. I can get information on my Christmas peaks. So if the data's there, you've got an analytic for it. If you're a brand new digital florist with no data to bring, then you're building this data. Your first peak will build this data and you'll have it for future years. No other software, as far as I'm aware, offers you this level of analytics. So I just think it's a really, really useful tool. Our florists gave us really good feedback on this. They really loved seeing it. They loved seeing their orders come in, what percentage they'd done against the previous years. And with Digital Florists, we are very much a community. We always like to have the feedback because we want to make your lives easier and we want to make our software better. And the only way we can do that is by listening to you florists, giving us feedback, giving us more information about what you want to see. So hopefully that has whetted your appetite for knowing other things that Digital Florist can do for you and the other unique features, as well as the other features that we do similar to other florist software out there, and how ours might compare to that. If you want to understand how we could work for your business, then visit us on digitalflorists.com. Have a little look around the website and make sure you book a demonstration with me. I'll make an appointment with you and we will go through everything and you can understand how much easier Digital Florist could make your life.